So, can you see me?
Yep.
Yep, and I can hear we're going the avatar saying again before we launch our show. So, welcome, good people, to the wow, it's the 12th episode of the Essentialists. We are actually like ended the season, 3 months, like a program. So, welcome, good people. Well, welcome, Levi. Hope you are today. And as you can see, we are recording at Levi's night, my morning. But again, as we said, what needs to be done needs to be done. So, for the 12th episode, we are going to talk about a more broad subject, which is, we will start with it at least, the manipulation of, of the news. And we will start from there. So, I've had a pretty interesting conversation, and I have it here on Instagram open with a Chris Reeves, and we've talked about the exercise a little bit, the strengths, and he told me something that I personally wasn't aware of about the thing that goes on in America about some sort of propaganda, and it's not about politics. All right, just to say we're not going to touch this and like open this discussion. We beyond that, but to make a point, he sent me a piece from Daily Mail, and again, I have no idea what like how serious this like news channel is, but nevertheless, 16.5 million Americans at risk of stroke from exercising too hard, study suggests. Now I have my thing about and with studies, but we are going to take it from here, and the mic is back to King Levi because we are retaining our traditions. So what you think about this notion that is beginning about like seems that people are like lack of things to pick up at, so exercise or strength training is next.
Well, I think here in the West, I don't know what direction you want this to go. Um, I have all kinds of thoughts on this topic.
Share them all.
Yeah. Um, our government wants us weak, sick, and fat, and they will tell us anything to get us to fall into line. And um, you know, I think the timing of that interview that Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson had, part of what Tucker was talking about was weak men are easy to manipulate and seduce with evil, and we don't have any leadership. And I think that's the gist of it. I think, I mean, you really want to get into it. I think COVID is a part of it. Fear propaganda and controllable, the less dangerous we are to them. And that's just kind of, I mean, that's the tip of the iceberg, I think, and that's just one more. Um, it's one of many ways that I think we are trying to, or they are trying to control us, and I that's just kind of where I'm at. I mean, I'll go deeper, but I don't know if that's what you were wanting from me today. Do I think that 16.5 millions of Americans are at risk for a stroke from exercising too hard? No, maybe one person maybe. I don't know. I think that's an absolutely ridiculous study, and I can't believe that we're spending money on anything remotely close to that. America's fat as shit. We might be in trouble having a stroke because we're fat, but not because we're going to work too hard.
Oh, yeah, I believe it. The study should be otherwise. Like
Yeah.
16.5 people are at risk of dying because not exercising properly, or the numbers even greater. But yeah, like this is exactly the direction. And I haven't seen that episode of Joe Rogan yet, but COVID wise. So here's the thing. All right. And again, this is a very explosive topic, and we are going to be around the strengths and training very soon. But I want to illustrate something like from Israel point of view. So there was discussion about Israel being a country in a huge experiment with the COVID, with the first COVID injections. And let's put this aside, vaccination, not vaccination for a second. I have a friend here in Israel that I know him personally. He was in my workshop. We've talked and he told me, listen, I've caught this, like doctors treat it as COVID. Like I really caught some like serious shit. I believe he's vaccinated even, but you know, I said, listen, this is real. Like he's young, like younger than me, a very strong, masculine guy, like strong. They said, listen, I can barely bench now. Like something happened to my body. Like, you know, of all the stuff that people talk that is fake, it's not fake. Like this shit is real. Like I'm young and I barely can, and I tried all the treatments. Like, and doctors like don't know what it is. So one point, like one thing is there is something there. The second thing, which is very, very peculiar to me. So after this huge wave of vaccination propaganda, let's call it, or you know, PR, COVID didn't go anywhere. So, but this winter, people having like COVID and stuff, and nobody talks. So, you know, as you pointed, I'm looking from my perspective and saying like, what? So you had your money, like, okay, you PR did shit, like you had your cut, like something happened, and all of a sudden, governmental wise, everything is quiet. Like I receive no messages of go vaccinate yourself. This winter you will be like nada. And like you're thinking, huh, how very peculiar. About government and weak, um, absolutely yes. And it's begun way, way, way longer. And I believe that social media, like let's leave conspiracy theories aside, but you begin weakening the people by taking need to think, you don't need to read books, all right? You just open and you're being fed. Um, Same on the social media, all right? And we're slowly pivoting to our subject. Uh, you open your whatever feed, Instagram, like whatever feed platform you are given the exercises, all right? You don't like even have the chance um, to stop and think like what I want to do. Is it right for me? Is it not right for me? You're almost automatically feeling guilty for not doing it. All right, you're kind of feeling left aside. So you begin to hectically, like a hamster on the wheel, all right, like run all over the cage that you are, like metaphorically speaking, all right, we all in some kind of a matrix cage, whatever, trying to do stuff. Same thing is going with the success, all right, like with all the success and get rich or die trying story. All right, you open like whatever what, and you're being bombarded and attacked with people who made it big, and you feel very lousy, looking at your life, at your, wife, kids, thinking that everything is a failure. All right, you don't give yourself a chance to reconsider the place that you are in and what you have accomplished. It's automatically like you like put a huge X on everything your life is, and from there it's very easy, all right, to shift you and say like, come to our side, like we have cookies. And here actually I want to give it up for Pavel and Strong first, because Pavel, like it began, and his message always was, and I remember it very vividly. He said, like, people who can swing a double 32s don't have back problems. And in this regard, like how many people, like outside the community, because if you see the community, you think this is the general rule, and it's not. How many people can clean squat and press, double 32s, like the functional strengths wise, right? Not Instagram story wise, but functional strengths wise. And back to the piece that we started, okay, I want to say, and heading Mike back to you, Levi, is I believe that 16.5 million, I believe the number is way, like, it can be higher. They're not in danger of exercising, like too much. They in danger, like quote unquote, because they exercise without a plan, right? They exercise without a program, and they just trying, to blindly follow up and, like just do stuff with like what everybody else doing. And this is the same with, the success of I just need to work 4 more hours. But if you're working without a plan, trying to create your millions or your business, you will get burned out. And same as with this, exercises. So in that term, this study can be, it is a manipulation, but it can reflect people who just, coming to the gym and putting more weights, and they, bashing themselves, completely burning their system to the ground, which is true. If you're stupid enough, you will bury yourself very quickly in the gym. So here we are, full circle back to this, have a goal, have a plan, preferably hire somebody who wasn't before, who have done it before you, and off you go, like healthy, wise, and strive for ages. So tell us.
I think
Yeah.
I think that as someone that I own a commercial gym, and I spend all day every day in a gym, and when I'm not in the gym setting, I'm communicating with people on social media that are in a gym setting, and observation is powerful, and you can see people that are maybe excited to be there to start, and have questions, and are too afraid or intimidated to ask for help, or um, burnout happens very quickly when people don't get the results that they think they deserve or need, or that they've earned. People have um, a lack of knowledge when it comes to the reality of how long it takes to achieve goals, how consistent you need to be over time. Everything seems easier if you're watching it online than what it is in reality. Just following your favorite influencer and hopping from workout to workout, which is pretty popular in the kettlebell world.
Too popular. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it is in bodybuilding as well. I think that people will see a new bicep curl variation, and then they'll try to do 100 sets of that, and um, wonder why. I it just yeah, there's just a lack of direction. There's People might have goals, but don't have a plan to achieve those goals, or not understand what it takes to achieve those goals, and don't have a proper timeline to achieve those goals. It's something that 16.5 million people achieving burnout, at risk of achieving burnout. Yeah, that would be pretty accurate. Um,
Listen, so like the question that comes to mind is, why do you think this is happening? Because, like, let's admit, like, hiring a coach, it does not, like, it's not that expensive, and people are not stupid, like, and like I'm sure that people are not willingly want to hurt themselves. Okay, like people are like honestly, genuinely, like want the results. They come for a reason, but then things go sideways. And like the real question to impose here, like, is like the discussion is, and you see it all the time because you have a commercial gym. So why is it happening? Because correct me if I'm wrong, like, come on, like a program, forget elite coaching, celebrity coaches, like put them aside. Yeah. But a pretty decent coach can cost you what? $30 per week, maybe less. Like, come on, like, why people are like, why this often falls short?
Well, I think I can I think I can speak for a lot of at least men, and that we've got an ego. We played sports growing up. We know we don't need help. We think we know what we're doing, and I think a lot of times asking for help is a sign of weakness, or admitting, just I think that's what a lot of it is. You can even see that. I think in conversation I have with the parents of my athletes, that um, there's still there's just a disconnect on what and it took me a while to understand that you just can't work harder. You know, with kettlebell sport, like, I just can't work harder. I have to, you know, be a lot more intelligent with my programming and my timing, and I just can't just do more. You just like, okay, go ahead. You just do more with your 32s. See how that works. You just can't do more. You just can't. And so there, when it comes to a skill and a sport, and the training methods are different. Um, I just think that there's a lack of understanding. Um, for whatever reason, people just think that we should be able to just be in shape. I mean, I don't know. Look around. Like, you should be able to just people watch and understand that everybody needs coaching. It's if it was so easy to exercise and to be in shape, we wouldn't have to worry about this article, or we wouldn't have to worry about you know being lied to and manipulated by our quote unquote leaders. So I mean, it's one of those things where we want to be, I don't know, we want to be told how special we are and how good we are, and we tell ourselves that, and you know God forbid we have to correct something about ourselves, or that we need help with something.
Yeah, well, let me ask you, what do you think? Because I don't like know, like, I'm not American. You grew up, and actually you are a part of this culture. So I am partly coming, like, not partly, I am a second generation after World War II. And in Soviet Union, right, like, men knew how to do everything. Like, that what made us like a man, but not in a like man thing, but like, it was more of a this fundamental evolution-wise, all right? And people who came alive after World War II knew how to do everything by themselves. They could fix cars, literally, okay? They knew how to dismount an engine, how to fix an engine. They knew how to lay bricks and build a house. They knew everything about the plumbing, like, man knew. And I was watching these men, like, very uh, like, I looked up to this man, because for me it was like the symbol of like manlyhood. Like, I can do everything with my own two hands, like, by myself. So here we have this, DIY. And when you coming to, like, when you asking for help, or when you're asking for advice, you're kind of initially feeling like a failure, like like what, are you not man enough? Like, can you learn it by yourself? Like, can you do it? So, and really scars you because it stalls your progress. And like these people really literally had no choice. And the technology was far behind what we have now. So yeah, like these cars, you can actually, like if you had a brain or at least some resemblance of brain and a screwdriver, you could actually do stuff because it was one bolt, one screwdriver, that's it, done. Now you like when you see the stuff like where it gone, like you understand that you are like you just can't, but it's stuck within you. Is it the same with like American culture? Like it's the home, like of the brave, it's the land of the free, the endless possibility. You can be everything. You can create yourself with your own two hands. Like this is the American dream, and like and like just go and do it. And so you like correct me if I'm wrong. Like if you're stuck, maybe in the same like if you're reaching for help, that you are not this like real, like American who like self-made, right? Like what's
Yeah, I would say that was true from my childhood. I looked up to my dad, and my dad, and at least in my eyes, and how I remember my childhood, my dad could do everything. At least he knew enough to be functional with just about everything. And if he didn't know, he knew somebody that could do it. And it was one of those things where, but like you said, the way technology has changed, everything has become more specialized. Everything has become more convenient. Everything has become, and in a lot of ways, that's a good thing. It's nice to be more efficient and to have, you know, a less overall responsibility, but maybe more responsibility in one area. So you can become more skilled and better in one service. Um, but then again, you're relying on other people for other aspects. So, um, yeah, anymore, at least over here, I think everybody does one thing really well, and that's kind of what they're paid to do. And um, I've got a yeah, I've got a commercial gym, and anytime something breaks, I got to ask for help. I can't fix anything. It's one of those things where another reason why you should have kettlebells is because they don't break. They don't have any moving parts. You know?
yeah.
And if you're smart, you don't break with them. So,
It's true.
um, my treadmills cost the most to purchase, and they cost the most to fix. And I've always got something, which is good because the gym's busy, but there's always something that's being, worn out, wear and tear. There's always something being worked on. Thank God that I'm blessed with a few members that are willing to help me, that have that ability to help me. But yeah, I just think that there's very few people that really know anymore, really know how to exercise, or maybe even know how to eat. And it sounds stupid to say that. Well, of course we all know how to eat, but
No,
um,
we don't.
we're we're addicted to cravings and comfort, and the things that give us instant gratification, and we don't know how to say no, and we don't know how to do things in moderation, and it's slowly killing us. And it changes your motivation levels, your brain chemistry, your gut health. It changes all that stuff, and slowly lack motivation. Pretty soon, like we've talked over and over, you go in and you get smashed. Kettlebell sport is so humbling. Um, if you walk in and happen to, you know, see a talented female as a male, you see a talented female, using the same weights you're using better than you are, that's enough to keep you from coming back in the gym. And so
Yep.
it's one of those things where um, you know, you've got to put the time in, and you've got to be consistent, and you can't expect just to show up and dominate. That's not the kind of world we live in anymore.
Yep. It is true because like you hit a point here that we can like we have a hard time. People have a hard time. I don't want to generalize. We have hard time, people, standing ourselves, and we don't have enough patience to grow to these levels. And this is like at least something to be acknowledged, because as you said, yeah, like your ego takes a hit, because and the funniest thing, like when you like, let's say you're walking in a, like, like gym, like full of females that are stronger than you, like let's say it's not gym, but let's say like, the kettlebell, whatever, that studio. And this is actually an opportunity to grow if you can cut yourself some slack, and not trying to achieve this, faster. And this is where people have like fall short. They're coming to a gym and saying, "Oh, I want a shortcut," and so they will, like, literally, and they will burn themselves trying to emulate the strongest people in the gym or strongest lifters in the gym, and absolutely disregarding the years that those people have put in, and in some cases the money that went into enhancement drugs, because even like this path takes time, right? And it takes a lot of time to cultivate. So, like, what practices, let's like, let's wrap, like, slowly, like, okay, this is the discussion, we can go like for hours, but we don't have these hours. um so how, like, what part, like, practical practices for, like, daily psychological mental health can you suggest for people, beyond, like, hire a coach and get a program? Like, this is the obvious. We are preaching it because we are living it, and because both, like, two, like, we know, and our students, like people who like we train, know how much time and how much money it's actually saving. But let's put this aside for a second. You know what? Like, screw coaches, screw programs. I can DIY. Fine, right? What other, like, practical suggestions can you throw in, like, for, more healthy, creating more healthy environment around yourself? If I'm being clear enough here.
Well, I think we need to do a better job of unplugging from, myself included, unplugging from our devices and social media. I think having a regular bedtime and waking up at a consistent time is very important. A lot of consistency and, when you go to bed, when you wake up. Sometimes, obviously, young parents or maybe high-end business executives or whatever might struggle with some of that, but college students maybe, but whatever. I mean, we've all got excuses, and you know, we could all do better in that regard. But consistent bedtime, consistent uh, waking up, but then staying hydrated, a consistent diet. Just you know, I can't stress that enough. A consistent routine is going to have a huge return on your investment. Um, it's really like I want to drink beer and eat pizza and have cookies too. I mean, I would love that as far as instant gratification, and I of course miss that stuff. But at the same time, like, is it worth having that and not feeling well or not sleeping well or um, you know for me it's not. For you maybe, I guess, for someone else. But when we're talking about the little things, sleep, consistent diet, getting on a routine, and stop making excuses. It sounds easy. Well, it is easy to say, but application is always going to be a little bit more difficult. But again, you have to decide what's worth it. Is what you're doing working? Yes or no? What can you change? Do you have a routine? Can you stick to? is your routine something you can maintain, or is it too aggressive, or if you change, are you making too many changes at once? You know, what can you add that you can adhere to instantly? You know, what changes can you make that um, that you can stick to right away? And so those are some little things that I think often get overlooked: sleep and routine and nutrition.
Yep. No, there are absolutely. Now, especially about sleeping, regimen, and I'm sorry for keeping you awake and breaking that pattern. So, like, absolutely true. Like routines and having a plan. Like, you can enjoy the pizza, by the way, if you have it planned, all right, and not randomly in your week. Like, earn this pizza and a beer, like by all means. You
Right.
know, um, on my part, like my 2 cents, like, here's the thing. Um, I am like clean your social media feed. And what I mean by that, I am deliberately from time to time, like unfollowing, not ego-wise, like I don't follow many people. And here's why. I want my social feed be neutral, meaning that I don't have anybody pitching me what I need to do. Right? And like inspiration, we call it. But it's basically people like you have your scheduler open, and everybody who passes by can write an assignment for you. Do this, do splits, do ring muscle ups, like do kettlebell swings, or like you need to do barbell cleans, or and then you completely lost and you're trying to do everything and you like and you end up broken, right? So I don't have any of these. I follow physiotherapists, some of them, because it's interesting, and I have nothing like I have no practical application, so it doesn't bother me, and I'm staying very clear on my path because it's some like knowledge for me, my sake. I follow some like traveling places, like saying like, oh, I want to strive harder to actually fly there with my computer and work from this part. But again, it does not pull me sideways. And what most important, you need to pick like one like motivational like model, one like coach, like be it Alex Hormozy, be it Jocko Willink, like be it Tony Robbins. It doesn't matter because they all talk about the same stuff, but they all use different language. And you need only one in your feed if you must have from time to time, to make these things, because if you have many of them, they will keep you in place and you will be absolutely, pull apart. So the moment this happens, and you from time to time open like feed because like come on, we all do it, right? At least there there will be a moment of silence. You open your feed and like there's like nothing there, and then in this silence you can actually hear yourself. What do you want? All right, and from there it opens a path of clarity, like where do you want to go and what would you like to achieve. And lastly, before we say goodbye, like guys, good people, please, you know what, let's put coaching aside, let's put personal programming aside, screw that. But please, if you want like just one practice, if you have your hands on a program, you got it for free, you downloaded it for free, somebody gave you, fine, finish it. The only thing you owe yourself is experience, is in the discipline of finishing the program. And to finishing, meaning that you will actually have to think for yourself how to manipulate the program in order for you to actually finish it. And this is again like the true DIY. This is where you will learn stuff. This is where you understand stuff. And this is what will create the self-confidence and competence. Walk to any gym and feeling okay because you're saying, all right, like these people talk French. I don't speak French, but I have learned Italian by my own, like by myself. So no problem. It'll take me some time. I'll pick up French. So let me stay in this gym, right? So have a habit of finishing and find a way to finish something if you have started it. and it will take you light years forward in in that regard. And like, don't worry about dying too soon, because we eventually die anyway. It's like, the quality of the memories and emotions we take with ourselves, not the amount of regret we carry among us. And on this positive note, hopefully we will say goodbye and good night and good morning, and thank you for being with us and loyal to us for these 12 weeks of our episodes. And season 2 is coming up. We've just like barely started. So thank you very much, Levi. Thank you for the time. My apologies again for missing a bit the schedules. And thank you, good people, for listening. And again, please correspond with us. All right? Write. Okay? Take action. Okay? Don't be this passive, like, glue that is being manipulated by, whatever. Right? Be this active and proactive people who say, you know what? Fuck you. I disagree. Thank you. I'll appreciate it. Like, personally. All right? Like, so here we are. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And good night, good morning. We will see you in the next episode in 1 week as usual. Cheers.